I hate how much you read that and you're like, fuck Lothaire, but also fuck Lothaire, you know?
Yes.
I hate it.
That's the most accurate thing ever.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Romancing the Monsters. I'm Em.
Hi, I'm S.
I'm Seth, and I'm just really nervous.
And I'm saying that with a big smile on my face because it is a big day.
It is
today
a
on
huge
Romancing
day.
The Monsters. We are finally discussing Mr. Lothaire's book. The book that Seth has been awaiting for
years.
20 goddamn books at this point.
Yeah, for years at this point.
I feel like it took a million books to get here, but we are here.
We are finally here. Where do we start?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, do we start with a blurb? Is there anything you want to mention before? I don't know.
No, let's just start with the blurb and then we'll go from there. I'm just like dying to hear
Did I even say this book was by Kersley Cole?
No, I think I ended up talking about how nervous I was.
Well, this book is by Kersley Cole, in case you didn't know. Though I feel like everyone knows at this point that Lothaire is one of Kersley Cole's most popular novels, I would say. So, go ahead, Seth. What is this book about?
Well, we have Lothaire, who we've met in previous books in the series. We kind of get a backstory on him with, like, his childhood, and we see, like, his mother's gruesome rape and death, and we see his hatred for humans form. And it flashes forward, and we see Elizabeth, who's his female lead, who's possessed by Soroya, who is, like, a goddess. She's just, like, an evil goddess. And
a goddess of death. There you go.
Goddess of death. Whom Lothaire believes is his bride because he, for 1 second, will never think a human could be his bride. Soroya in Elizabeth's body commits a lot of murders, and Elizabeth is put on death row and in prison because Lothaire didn't let her commit suicide after Soroya had killed a lot of people. Anyways, it jumps ahead 5 years after that, where Elizabeth, it's time for her execution, and Lothaire got there in the nick of time.
No, not 5 years, 2 years.
Was it I swear it was 5 years.
I think it was 5. He meant to get her for 2 years, but I think she stayed in 5. I remember something like that.
Yeah, and then, anyways, he saves her, and then he quickly tells her he's a vampire, and his bride inside her is Soroya, and he plans to remove Elizabeth from her own body. And thus, starts there.
As one does.
Yeah, right? As Lothaire does.
Yeah. Only him.
And, yeah. Anyways, Elizabeth decides to come up with a plan to try and seduce Lothaire away from Soroya. And as readers, we know that that's not, like, physically possible since he had made a vow to Soroya when he first got blooded. That he vows to remove Elizabeth's soul from her body and make the body undying. And he plans to do this with the ring that he stole, since Lucia and Gareth's book, we find out the reason why he wanted that ring so badly was because the ring has the capacity to grant wishes. And yeah, I don't even know where else to go in this synopsis here, but did you girls like it?
Can I just say that so one thing about me is that I don't typically, I'll read the blurb to the first book of a series, but then once I'm sure I like it and that I'll read the rest of the books, I don't typically read the blurbs of the other books. So I went into this not having read the blurb. I had no idea what the setup for this book was. I swear to God, I opened the book, started reading it, and I was like, what in the world is going on? First of all, you open the book, there's 3 POVs and that, like, thingy at the beginning. I was like, who the fuck is this third person? And I was like really confused because I was like, okay, so who is his mate? Is it that goddess of death, or is it this human person? And then just like the whole setup with him sending her to prison for a long amount of time, and like her being put on death row, and like almost getting the thingy that, you know, ends your life, and her trying to commit suicide, and then I was like,
and not just once, she tried to commit suicide at least twice in the beginning, right? So
yeah, it was an intense beginning of a book, to say the least, and I was flying off my chair at that point. I was like levitating. So yeah, but let's start with us.
Like Marge, I thought starting it, I was confused since there was a 3 like point of views. I was wondering like who the hell was this third person. I didn't read the blurb. I thought we had like another Bowen situation.
Oh, right, yes. And then you came in saying bitch ass Bowen.
Yeah, so I was like, what's going
bitch
on?
Ass Lothaire.
And you know what? Yes, bitch ass Lothaire.
He does have some bitch ass moments in there.
He does. He really does.
Yeah, he does.
So
we're gonna have to find him a name.
Yeah, with owls, we have to think.
But so I read the blurb, went back into the book, and I loved it. It was good.
Yay!
I did have moments that we'll probably discuss later on with Lothaire, but it was an entertaining book. It was wild.
Yeah, it was.
Like there was a lot
wild.
that happened.
So I liked it a lot. I do have one small critique. Okay, so like the first, hold on, relax. As far as the romance goes, I loved it. As far as the characters, I loved it. But like that first 60% of the book, I swear to God, like I said, I was levitating in my seat. Like I was like, I'm having like an out of body experience with this book. It was great. I was getting everything I wanted.
Yeah.
But I will say that in the second half of the book, or like the last 40% or so, there's this whole plot with like the spin-off series that she's establishing in the book. And for me, it started dragging at that point because the main characters are not together, obviously, because they're, you know, both doing their own thing because they're not talking at that point. And I did think that part, there was something about it that didn't work for me in a way that I feel like Cressy Cole usually can make it work. But I mean, I can understand that she was obviously trying to set up this spin-off series, but I just feel like she could have done it differently, or I kind of wish she had wrapped up the romance and then had like a spin-off novella afterwards or whatever, explaining the whole Dashi plot or Dacian plot or whatever their name is.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like it didn't quite belong in the story. That's just my take. But, you know, like I said, like as far as the romance, like when they were together, and like if you look at just their arc, because to me that part of the novel, it's almost like it's not the romance anymore. It's like, I don't know what that was, but it just didn't feel like it fit for me. But the romance was great, and I mean, Lothaire, hello. So yeah, that's how I felt about it.
Okay, I guess that's a fair critique. Yeah, because I feel like they did the Dashians, or however you say it. I feel like, yeah, they were pretty like in there, and once they were in there, they had a lot of dialogue and a lot of page time. So I guess I could see that being slowing down the story. I could see that. But I loved it, like the 10th, 20th time I read it. I still love it. I love Elizabeth. I love Lothaire. I love everything about it. Yeah, so in case you didn't know, I loved it.
I feel like we did.
Okay.
All right. What do we want to start with?
I don't know. What do you girls think? What did you think about Lothaire's behavior towards Elizabeth? Like, we get, like, in the beginning of the book, we get a prologue of, like, how his hatred for humans grew and how it became something that he lived by for like the 3,000 years he's been alive. Like, how did you feel about his behavior at the beginning, or even like throughout the whole book, you know, towards Elizabeth?
I feel like I get it, I understand, but I think it kind of got annoying for me towards I think it was a little after he found out that that was his bride. And then I think for me, one of the things that really bugged me was when he tried to change her into a vampire. And she just kept saying,
Yeah, that's a little fucked up.
And he kept pushing.
That she didn't want
that
to.
was one of my main issues with him. But I understand, like, and I kept going back and forth with what he went through, what he witnessed with his mom, with his dad. Like, I get it. But no, I think he, like, pushed it. Like, it I don't know, the way he treated her.
It felt really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't want it. And I think my main issue with it was he never asked her if she wanted it. He just did it. Even though she was asking for a conversation at that point. Which is frustrating, right? Because sometimes in books, characters are not having those goddamn conversations. And they're having fights over and over again. And you're like, just talk to each other. Yeah. And at that point, I really feel like she wanted to talk to him. She was ready to, like, have full-on conversations, like, can we figure out how we're going to make this work between you and I, because you've done some really shitty things to me, and I'm trying to, like, get this to work despite everything you've done. And he still wasn't having it at that point. So I'm kind of, my battle here between, like, if I'm okay with it or not is, I'm not okay with it for her, for Elizabeth, because I'm like, or Ellie, because I'm like, she deserves better. She was ready. She wanted to be an adult in this situation and, like, have a conversation. But I'm also like, he's a villain. Like, this is, like, it makes sense for his character to just do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, for him, he's just thinking end goal, end goal, end goal. And, like, his end goal, his human cannot die. You know? Like, he needs her to survive. So, like, in his brain, it makes sense. So, like, I can reason with it in the sense that I'm like, Lothaire is just, he's gonna Lothaire, you know? Lothaire's gonna be Lothaire. Like, he doesn't understand her point of view in this situation, which I guess is just a flaw of his character and a flaw of his, like, just because of his experience, really. But, it is a sticky situation, to say the least.
Yeah. No, I agree with your point, like, both your points. But for me, I think with Lothaire, I think for him, he hasn't really had many, like, conversations, or, like, even prolonged conversations, I think, with anyone, or, like, with anyone he doesn't deem inferior, or someone that he doesn't see as, like, an equal. Like, he does not have those conversations. And, like, for him, even when he finds his bride, it's, like, kind of, like, new territory. He's never really experienced that sort of connection with someone before. And, like, obviously I don't agree with, like, him not discussing things, but, like, we know his inner thoughts, but Elizabeth obviously doesn't know because he doesn't say them to her. So it's like, if he'd said things to her and maybe discussed things with her, I think it would have been a lot better in terms of their relationship. But he doesn't know that that's needed to be said. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, he doesn't realize that his inner thoughts need to be expressed in order for Elizabeth to feel, like, at ease. He thinks, like, because, like, he knows everything, basically he needs to make the decisions for them instead of, like, making it with her. So his behavior was awful, but, like, I can kind of see where, like, how this came about.
Yeah. Would he have ever accepted her as a human, do you think?
He said no, he wouldn't, but he would, because he would, what did he say? He doesn't court death for himself because he knew that she would die sooner or later if she was human. So he would do whatever he could to make her, you know, undying, but he would never court death for himself.
And, like, in a fucked up way, you gotta say that, like, they were on such uneven grounds for so much of the novel because he is such, like, you know, a powerful being with, you know, he's ancient, he's, you know, has done a bunch of shit, he's mad. And she's just this human girl who has not much experience in life. And so I feel like, in a way, while it's absolutely wrong and, like, he should have asked, how do you feel about that? I also feel like, in a weird way, it allowed her to be on a little bit of more even grounds with him, because at least now, like, strength or power is not really an issue, if that makes sense. Like, it's experience is still, like, you know, a thing. Like, he's lived thousands of years that she has not.
But
I just feel like somehow it made them a little bit more equal in a way that, like, maybe makes it a little bit more believable. Which, I mean, I guess is kind of a thing, you know? Like, we read romance novels all the time where, you know, the guy's like this ancient being that's, you know, falls in love with this human girl, and like we all believe it, but this is kind of realistic in the sense that, like, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They probably wouldn't fall for the naive human girl that can die in 5 seconds, because it's like, oh, so you fall in love with her and then she dies like 5 seconds later, because even a century, even if she got to live 100 years, would still be like a blink for him, you know?
Exactly. And like Nyx even said, like, the few weeks that passed that they were apart was just like a mere like hour for him, like Lothaire time, because he's been alive for so long that sense of time isn't similar. So yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So
do you think if Elizabeth didn't go through what she did at the hand of Lothaire and Soroya, meaning like, you know, killing all those people and also going to prison and things like that, do you think she would be a match for Lothaire? Because like obviously experiences mature you and like shape you into the person you are. So do you think she would still be his match?
Probably not, right?
I mean, technically speaking, yes, they are mates, so they have to be a match no matter what, you know? The fates have decided. But I don't know, because the thing is that so much of it is because of him, because of his actions, but I don't want to give him any credit for it. She's the one that survived it. She was the one that was put into prison and had to survive goddamn prison and being put on death row and having to live with thoughts like, I want to die because there's someone inhabiting my body and I might as well die because I don't want to hurt anyone. Like, she's the one that survived all of that. So I don't want to give him shit for credit, because fuck him for doing that, you know? Like,
I know, and like it's just like it's so heartbreaking because like she, despite the situation, she still found a way to get an education, to like go to university and like complete all of that, but yet he finds a way to underestimate her and like undermine her and like make her feel inferior. And yeah, Elizabeth was a great character.
She really was. Fucking Lothaire, man. Like, thinking back, like,
Right?
everything that he did.
I hate how much you read that and you're like, fuck Lothaire, but also fuck Lothaire, you know?
Yes.
That's the most accurate thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, why are we like this? Like, oh my god. You know?
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, he gave me those dark vibes I was looking for. Although I will say, there's no spanking in this book, Chrissy Cole. Where it's at? Where is it at?
Wait.
What?
Marge and S, you got what you wanted. The vampire bite BJ.
Hold on, that's in my
that's
notes.
right,
I only have 3 notes, and one of them is we gotta repeat on the blowjob, and also who did it best. Can we discuss that now? Who did it best?
Obviously,
Lachlan
Elizabeth
and Emma, or Lothaire and Ellie?
Lothaire.
Is that even a question?
No, it's not. It's clearly Lothaire and Ellie.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was because he wasn't unconscious, you know, for it.
Their initials, it's the same. It's Lachlan.
Oh my god,
Lothaire,
you're right.
Emma and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's right. I mean, clearly this scene was hotter. He was like, have a snack, honey.
I know, and he like cut his dick for her, and he's like, come on now. They're so kinky. I love it.
Oh my goodness, I'm hot.
That's
like,
great.
I'm genuinely feeling hot right now.
Yeah.
I got a fan for you, Marge.
Thanks. I'm sweating a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that happened, and I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
Doesn't change the fact that there was no spanking in this book, and I was really hoping for one.
No.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, she keeps on doing things that he doesn't want her to do, right? So I was like, all right, Lothaire. I mean, give me something to look forward to with those threats, because you're like, ooh, if you keep doing that, something's gonna happen. And I'm like, well, Lothaire, I am waiting for that something to
Okay.
happen.
His threat was killing her family. I think that's a big enough threat.
I want threats of the sexual nature, okay?
Sexual
Those are the
threats,
fun
Seb.
threats.
Sexual.
Yeah, I agree.
Threats that make you want to do the bad things that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely one of my notes. You best believe.
But the sex scenes in this book, I think they were like next level for me. Like even like their first sexual experience with her like basically dry humping him on the chair.
Yeah.
I could not.
Yeah.
I could not. Like, ugh, it was so hot.
I thought that they actually did the deed, but I have to go back and like read through again and listen
No,
to make sure that it was just
screamed
dry
in his
humping.
pants.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Oh, Cresslegal. I was even pissed with him with like the whole I'm going to a completely different place right now. Please follow along with me.
Okay.
I was pissed even with like the whole the jewelry that he bought for the goddess of death, but like he wouldn't let her touch it. He was just like, look at what she's gonna have that you're never gonna have because you're poor.
Yeah.
What the hell? I was like, Lothaire,
Asshole.
that's my limit. You asshole.
And then like the fact where he wouldn't even let her see the outside, and like he fully knew she would hit the boundary when she got to Hag's place, and like he's like, yep, she'll like look at it and that's all she can do. And I'm like, you're such an asshole.
You know what? I'm glad she kissed that boy. I was surprised that she kissed Thad, but I was like, girl, yeah, test out the waters elsewhere. Just because honestly, Thad would be a great partner. I'm just saying, he's sweet,
he's so adorable,
he's kind, he'll always be there for you. I was like, girl, try out somewhere else because that man ain't treating you right. All right, so.
But then,
like, she was like, I'm not feeling anything, which I was like, fine, go back to Lothaire then.
No, but then, like, he kind of, like, in a way, I'm not even know why I'm trying to justify his actions. But anyways, with the whole realizing that he wants her to see the world and, like, he takes her every night to a new place and it's like, fine, I guess you redeemed yourself in a little bit.
It's just so fucked up
Very
how much
little
pleasure he was getting out of her not experiencing the world and like just being stuck inside as a prisoner and stuff. Like, it's sick, but also,
and he loved gloating about it.
It's sick, but it makes sense. And also, like, it's just it's creepy psycho things that you're just like, why do I like this? Like, why do I genuinely like that he's making her suffer? I don't want this for her. She deserves better, but also give me more.
I think it's also, for me, I think this book worked because Elizabeth was who she was. She was a strong character who fought back when she had to, and, like, she knew the treatment was wrong. Like, she wasn't glorifying it or, like, trying to make it seem like something it wasn't, because it was abusive. It was awful. And I like that she acknowledged that and knew that she deserved better.
I mean, I feel like she's the star of the book. He's not. He's the way that you would imagine he is, like it wasn't like a surprise. But for her, it's like, it's a journey for her. You know what I mean? Like, she really comes out of her shell and, like, discovers her own strength, her own emotional strength, and, like, just how valuable that is, and, like, her integrity. And, like, she's just like, I will not go down. I won't let this evil person ruin everything I stood for, And I appreciate it, She's strong.
No, and I love that discussion of happiness when, like, she tells him, like, you've never experienced happiness, but, I, like, in my 24 years of life, I've experienced more happiness that you can even dream of. You don't even know what that is. Like, and I love how that was, like, discussed, and I love how he, like, thought about it and was like, shit, she's right.
And the conversation he had with Soroya?
Yeah.
Soroya?
Yeah.
When he asked her what was happiness, and
Yeah.
She couldn't
Yeah,
tell him.
and
or
her
she did
like
with
definition of
death.
happiness is like seeing the life leave someone's eyes, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Because it's like he keeps like dangling these things in front of her, like, ooh, you won't ever have that, blah blah blah. But like I loved
Yeah.
that moment because it's like, bitch, I have everything. You have nothing. You've never known happiness. You don't. I'm the lucky one here, despite my situation.
Yeah.
I don't care that I don't own anything, that I don't have a beautiful house and lots of money and whatever. I know love. I have a family, and I'm happy, despite it all.
Yeah.
So goodbye.
yeah, yeah. She literally said goodbye.
Peace out. But I loved how that then translated to like him talking to Saroya and being like, do you know happiness? Like, no, you don't. Like,
know.
we'll never be happy together. Like, he really took it to heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I really liked about this story, because I think he got in Saroya the mate he would have wanted, or he thought that he would want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Elizabeth was the mate that he craved for, was the person that he yearned for and wanted to be happy with. So I liked that he had what, he thought he wanted versus what he actually needed.
Because it also makes him confront who he thought he needed to be, as opposed to who he really wants to be. End goal. End goal. End goal. I feel like, to be honest, like this book, I feel like for the last few books, there's been like little details dropped here and there that you're like, oh, okay, that doesn't really make sense, but okay. I feel like a lot of those details finally came into play in this one, and like it was finally like I was understanding what had been happening for like years already, and like what was going on and where it was going.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about the whole thing with what's her name, Lorinda, the person who the ring belongs to? What's her name?
Ladorada.
Ladorada. I can't fucking pronounce that. Her.
Ladorada.
The corpse. How did you feel about how that was resolved?
So first of all, was it Soraya's sister the one that cursed her with La Dorada? Like, their situation was a little confusing. There was something between La Dorada and Soraya.
I think Soraya cursed La Dorada. I can't fucking say her name. Apologies to her.
Yeah, she La Dorada. Or you can say
I don't
the
want her to
gilded
come
one.
after me.
The gilded one. Yeah.
Soroya had sent.
She cursed her for fun.
She had sent like people to kill her, like her soldiers to kill her.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And so La Dorada wanted revenge, and obviously the prophecy. Apparently, there was a prophecy between them that she would destroy Soroya's soul.
Okay.
And her sister, she finds out in the end before she dies that her sister also wanted her dead.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But how did you feel about how that whole thing was resolved?
I felt like something more grand was gonna happen between them.
I did too.
Like, I feel like it kind of resolved like quickly. Like it made me think like kind of what was the point of Soraya being inside? Like, I don't know. I expected something bigger between that whole situation.
I think part of why we expected something bigger is just because of the confrontation in the previous books. Like how huge that was. Like her coming in and like everyone screaming and dying and running away and buildings crumbling, and like right now, like in this book it was kind of just like a sit down conversation over tea.
Yeah.
I think we can't talk about the situation without talking about like Nyx and like her part in this story, because I feel like she sent La Dorada there because she knew that La Dorada had the power to destroy Saroya, thus making Lothaire's vow, null and void. So I think the reason why it didn't seem like as like big of a situation was because that was Lothaire's moment to realize, like obviously like later on when he finally sees Nyx again, that it was because of her. Like she actually listened to him like as like a friend and helped him and like saved his mate. So I think that's why it wasn't that big of a deal.
But also, also, I can see why she went for that instead of a big battle, in the sense that he was gonna have his moment at the end where he goes into the mine and he saves the people, right?
True.
And so I
True.
feel like for Lothaire, it's like there's no denying that man is strong. There's no denying he can fight in a battle just fine, you know? What he can't do and had to do was hand over everything he's been collecting for thousands of years, all the debts.
Yeah.
So I feel like what she was trying to say is like there's some like this is not about brute force. It's not about ability or agility. It's here's what he's been working towards that he thought he wanted, and he's gonna have to hand it over, which technically it's not him that does it, it's Ellie. But, you know, go Ellie for like being like, bitch, here are your debts. It's not yours anymore.
No, I was just gonna say, and I think that was really important, like for, I guess, as us readers to see that he values Ellie more than he does his debts, because as soon as like Ellie made that decision to give them away, he's like, you're such a clever person. And like that's when you realize that he values her more than he does his thousands of years, you know, account book of debts.
Yeah. So, you know, sometimes a grand gesture is not, you know, explosions and stuff like that. Sometimes it's the, you know, little things like handing over something you've been looking forward to.
And it makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like now that we talked about Nyx.
Yes, Nyx.
How did you girls feel about Nyx in this book?
Nyx!
Okay, so first, did they ever hook up?
No.
Right? Did they? I feel like it kind of hinted.
I don't know if they did. Because can I say something? Obviously, he was immortal. I don't think they ever met before he was not immortal. Because remember, once you turn immortal as a vampire, you lose all sexual ability.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I had my little headcanon last week.
Let's hear yours this week.
I have a little headcanon this week. I mean, for like, you know, a few pages, I kind of shipped Nyx and Lothaire.
Yes, we do.
A lot.
I do too.
Like, listen, they have this amazing conversation where they, like, understand each other so deeply. And they're the only ones, you know? And I think it's...
that would ever
Lothaire,
understand each other.
Yeah, like, Lothaire feels like he can tell her, I feel so old.
Yeah.
And she understands that. And then... Yeah. And then Nyx says, Lothaire, I've met dirt that is younger than we are.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love what they have. Like, this, I don't know, like, we understand each other. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it just being a friendship, obviously. Men and women can be friends. It doesn't have to be sexual. But, like, I was in that moment, especially because Ellie and Lothaire are not together at that point. And I was like, what is going on in this book? You know, Cressley Cole gave me that, and I was like, oh, how cute. And then Nyx can just spend the night there, and he's like, just sleep. I was like, oh, Lothaire, my heart.
No, because like
so
she had said before that like everyone wants something from her, and then he's like, just sleep, I'll protect you. And I'm like, Yeah. No, and I think it's like that whole scene was so telling on like how much they valued each other, and like how betrayed Lothaire had felt. Because of, like, obviously she's the reason why he spent 600 years in the Blood Forest. She's, like, the reason why he didn't get his revenge, you know, time and time again. And, like, he's hated her for so many years. And then he finds out later on, oh, it's because she cares about him that she did all of that. And, like, she was willing, like, she's such an amazing character that she's willing to lose friendships and, like, bonds with people for their happiness, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's heartbreaking because she needs love.
Yeah. And I mean, I said so in the last episode on Immortals After Dark, how, like, you start seeing in that book how much work she's doing behind the scenes. Yeah. And I was like, I love that she put that in the previous book so that when we get here, we're like, yeah, Nyx has been doing a lot behind the scenes. And, like, girl is tired. And, like, you get it. You're like, yeah, Nyx. take a nap, please. Like, because
Yeah.
she's like, I can't sleep. Like, he asks her, like, when was the last time you slept? And I think she said, like, not since the,
The capture.
yeah, which
Mhm.
was, like, forever ago. So I was like, oh my God, Nyx.
No, and it's like, it's really sad because, like, everyone, whenever they look at Nyx, even like up until this point, they say, oh, she's just like acting a bit crazy, like, you know, she's just like being her crazy self. But like with Lothaire, he sees her, like, he sees it deeper. Like, he sees that she's exhausted, she's tired, she's not the Nyx that he knows. And it's just like, yeah, they're a bond, and I hope it continues on as like the books progress, like we see them, like, their friendship, because like you said, no one understands like the way that they understand each other. Like, no one would have that ability to do that because they haven't lived that long. They haven't lived through as much as they did.
Yeah. So yeah, headcanon. I ship it in my head. Not in the book, but I ship it in my head.
I'm with you, Mars.
Yes.
Oh, we didn't talk about, how did you girls feel about when Lothaire finally realized that Elizabeth was his bride and not Soroya?
Oh my God, that's not where I thought you were going, but yes.
Where do you think I was going?
I thought you were gonna talk about the dark fae.
Oh, sure, that too.
Okay, but okay, first, when he realizes she's his bride, what did you think? S?
No comment right now. My mind was blank.
To be honest, my mind is a little blank too. Like, I have her reaction more than his in my brain.
I feel like the lead up to that realizing it came like slowly, like it wasn't.
So it was when he sleep traced to, I think it was a blood forest, and then she's surrounded by like his, whoever the new leader is of the horde, and like the Cerunos people, and like one licked her face, and then like when he saw that she was in danger, that's when he clicked in that that was his bride, and like that's when she clocked out mentally.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah, he realized that was his bride, and then that's when he was like, so many of like his victims have been in the same situation, and like now he's hopeless in this situation.
So much happens in this book that I had forgotten that tidbit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
But now that I remember it, it was, I mean, it was intense. It was one of those scenes, right, where he's like feeling really defenseless, and he's finally put in the place of the people he's hurt for so many years.
Exactly.
So that felt good. Apologies to him, but like that felt good. Seeing him suffer a little bit.
And like, I think mentally too, he kept trying to tell himself that she wasn't his bride, and then all of a sudden he realizes that is my bride. Like, I don't know. I just loved how it was done in that situation, because previously, like, even the night before, he's like, yep, no, I would not hurt my bride as much as I have hurt Ellie. So she's not my bride.
I mean, I love the whole demon possession plot point, because I was scared that this book wasn't going to be dark enough, because I'm like, well, when these men know who their mate is, Cressley Cole just makes them go soft, because obviously that's just, you know, they're your mate, so like, why would you be a bitch to them, you know? So I liked how she did it, because it allowed her to still have some tension between them and still have some darkness, and like experience Lothaire as a person as opposed to as a mate right away, because he thought the other one was his mate, who bitch knew all along she wasn't. She was just
I hate her.
I just loved how he was just like, why is she not like sexually attracted to me? I don't get it. Like, I'm not there.
He's like, everyone else is.
And then he would just go back to Ellie being horny as fuck. So it was interesting how like once Soraya is dead or gone, suddenly he like feels the full force of Ellie as his mate, like, because that was like tempering it, or like,
but even once he felt that, he still like, he didn't go soft, like how you say, like the males in this.
He doesn't go soft, but boy did buy a whole mountain for her. You know?
Well, yes. But I mean, like, in terms of like mentally, like for him, he equates trust with love. And like, obviously, yes, you know, having her full trust does, you know, help the love situation. But like, he believed that if she loved him, she would not betray him. And like, he kept trying to fight to get her to love him.
But he betrayed her. He betrayed her when he changed her against her will.
Yes.
Period. Full stop. The end. Get over yourself, Lothaire.
No, I know. I'm not saying anything against that. Like, he was an asshole. He should not
No,
have done
I know.
what he
I'm
did.
talking to him. I'm
Okay,
trying
okay.
to reason with him and his stupid ass. Because he's hurting Ellie and she didn't do shit, okay?
And it wasn't like she didn't want to. She just wanted to talk about it. Like, she wasn't ready yet. And like, this man's like, no. You trusted me to make decisions for 3 weeks.
Like, she's not gonna die in 3 days. You can give her a few years to get adjusted to the, the idea.
No, well, he only had the ring for the day. She only asked to talk about it. She didn't ask to, like, don't change me, like, forever. Like, she just said, can we talk about it? Like, it's her life, and this man is not even letting her make decisions about her own life. Or, like, include her in decisions about her own life. It's her life, not yours, bitch. I love you, Lothaire, but, like...
But I feel like that's when she kind of, like, cut his head. I laughed. I was like, that's what you get.
I was so confused when that happened. I was like, what happened? Because, like, she doesn't think she did it, but also she thinks she did it. And, like, I was so confused for a long while. I know. Like, I eventually, understood that when they talked about it later on.
Yeah.
But, like, when it happened, I was like, what is going on here? I was like, did someone trace into the room, slash his throat?
That's what I thought, too.
And then, like,
Someone
made it look like it was her, but then turns out it wasn't her. Also, like, come on, Lothaire, you've gone through worse than that. Like,
exactly, and she left an eighth of a tendon. Like, you're alive.
Like, he knew he was gonna come back. Like, come on, you put her on death row, and
exactly.
she cuts your throat, and like somehow that's the biggest betrayal.
And he's such a drama queen. This man rips out his own heart to say, "I'm done with you."
Like, sorry. But, like, I didn't technically understand that. I thought that Ellie's response of, like, sending him the middle finger made more sense. I was like, yes, Ellie, that actually makes sense. Like, this dude be carving out his own heart. Like, is this, like, a romantic offer? Like, from him, I'd be, like, romantic.
The Valkyrie were like, oh, that's actually so romantic. And then, like, Lothaire thinking, oh, yeah, this is the heart that Ellie got her hands into, so here, I don't want it anymore. I'm just going to grow a new one.
So dramatic.
Like,
as if. He's so stupid. Like, as if.
How did you girls feel about him wanting to dream her memories throughout the whole book, but he couldn't do it? Him thinking that because he didn't, like, want to see her memories because of, like, her life and all of that. But then, like, he realized in the, like, closer to the end with Nyx that he was scared to see her memories. And then once he finally dreamt them and he saw, his treatment of her through his eyes. Sorry, what? Sorry, through her eyes.
Was he scared of seeing her memories?
So, like, throughout the whole book, he doesn't understand why he can't see her memories, or, like, I mean, he's very focused on trying to see Declan's, but, like, it's kind of in the back of his mind, like, why haven't I seen her memories yet? There's probably something in there or whatever. But then as it goes on, like, he starts wondering more and more, and then he has that talk with Nyx and realizes it's because all along he was scared of seeing what he's done to her from her perspective. Yeah. Because he knew how he treated her.
It gave me serious chest pains.
Which I hope that he relives those memories for the rest of his goddamn life. Because he deserves it, okay?
No, I know. It gave me serious chest pains. Because, like, she's been through so much.
He can be happy when he's awake, but he better know what he put her through. Okay.
And I think now he does, and I think he realized, shit, I was awful. Like, he didn't even pay her one compliment throughout all of that, like, throughout the time that they've been together.
Did he ever apologize, like, straight up, I'm sorry? I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
I don't know.
Does he grovel? Do you girls think he groveled enough? I don't think there was enough grovel.
There wasn't really a groveling.
He traced into a mine, saved a couple people, and then, like, almost died, and that was his groveling. Like, that was it.
But, like,
that was
also,
the extent.
I'm playing devil's advocate here, okay? He saved the species that he detested the most and thought they were less than animals. He did it all for her. and he's willing to spend Sundays and holidays with her family.
That's
not
that's
NASCAR.
the real pain for him. That is the pain.
And who are a wife beater for her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, he was horrified. He was like, "What the fuck am I wearing?"
And they have a dog now.
I just love how Ellie was telling her mom everything he did to her, and her mom was like, "But he's hot, though." I was like, "Same,
I love her mom.
same." Anyways, what did you think of that dark fae? What's her name?
Valerie?
Valerie. Does she get a book at some point? It felt to me like she was. If she doesn't, it felt to me like she would.
She might later on. I don't know.
Because there was that
Not
whole
yet.
story. There was that whole story about her being into some demon, I think, who couldn't touch her because her skin is poisonous.
Yeah, I want to read that.
I was like, that's a setup, Cressley Cole. I know you. I know what's in your mind.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing here, and I want it. So, okay, so she doesn't get a book yet.
No, I want it, though. I think that would be a good story.
I mean, I liked her.
Yeah.
I liked how she became friends with Ellie.
Yeah, she was a cool
I
character.
know, and I loved Ellie, like, when she discovered that, that trunk of food. Well, not food, but, like, the trunk of, like, wishes, basically. And, like, I love how she kept getting, like, beers and, like, Cokes for them to, like, drink and talk. I liked Valerie
And sunbathe and, like, looking
Yes.
through magazines.
How did you girls think, we didn't even talk about this, how did you feel about, like, we get to see things from a different perspective? Because Allie doesn't know anything really about the lore, and then when Mariketa tries to come and get her through the mirror, Valerie was like, oh no, let me cut her hand off, like, stay away from her. But we know that Mariketa is actually trying to get her, because, it's Mariketa. How did you feel about that? Because we get to see them in a different perspective.
I thought that was crazy when she cut off her head. I was like, oh my god, Marika.
I just love how
She's handless.
how her first approach was sounding scary, and then, like, she has a conversation with the girl, and then they go back to the mirror, and, like, Mariketa is like, all right, I don't have time for this. Like, just come on.
And then you hear, like, after, like, her arm gets cut off, like, you hear Bowen in the background. Like, I was like, this is so chaotic. And, like, I wish we could have read that scene in their perspective.
To be honest, I wish Ellie had gone through the mirror. Because I would have liked to see Lothaire running around the city for his mate, and, like, her being not accessible because she's with the Valkyries.
Well, I mean, that happened later on, but, like, he didn't go run after her. Oh, we should talk about what do we think the monster of the story was?
Yeah. Okay. Who wants to go first? Us. I'm throwing you under the bus.
Okay. So I think I only have it for Lothaire. Not for Ellie. So for Lothaire, I think his monster would be, I think his fear of disappointing his mom. And then him just trying to avenge her death, and then trying to accomplish, like, those blood vendettas, like the 7 tasks and all that. I feel like that was holding him back from trying to open up to Ellie, or trying to accept her as his bride. I feel like that was, like, the major for him.
That's a good one. I haven't thought about that one, because you're right. Like, he kept thinking about his mom and, like, how she would regard Ellie, and, like, how she would, like, think less of him if he ended up with a human. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I think.
Because, like, at the end of the day, love and happiness is always the way to mend, like, familial wounds, or, like, the way to win. You know, you don't win by hating, or with a hate, or just by killing people and being, and suffering because of it. So, like, I think that's, like, a thing that a lot of characters have to understand, and that was definitely one of Lothaire's things. Like, he really thought that to avenge his mother, he needed to kill all these people, and he needed to, become king of these 2 kingdoms, and he couldn't be with a human or whatever. And, like, turns out it's like, no, you actually, you win by doing this, by being happy. Because your mother was never happy, so.
For me, I saw his monster, like, his pride and also, like, his prejudice when it comes to humans. So, like, for me, his pride like,
and prejudice.
Exactly. He's his own Pride and Prejudice.
Cressley Cole. This is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, guys.
Oh my gosh, that's the most twisted thing I've ever heard. Is Soroya Mr. Wickham?
Oh God.
Oh heck, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, probably. Continue on. Pride and Prejudice.
So his pride, because of his own sense of superiority over humans, he feels that like having a human as his mate is beneath him, and like obviously that caused him to make many decisions that were like irreversible. And if not for Nyx's help, I feel like it would, have continued down the path that it did with like, him having to forsake Elizabeth's soul, and not ending up with Soroya, but like, making her undying.
Yeah.
But like his prejudice for me, when it comes to humans as well, was pretty bad and pretty prominent in the story. And like we see where his hatred for humans comes from and how it's grown. And like there's a line in the book where like the hatred of Ivana, which is his mom, for humans would grow, fueling his own. So like it kind of goes back to that idea that like prejudice is learned, and like his prejudice was learned from his mother. And, like, also, like, seeing what his mom went through as well also further fueled his hatred and his prejudice towards the human species. So, yeah, that's how I saw it.
I never understand the whole concept of holding a grudge for someone else.
Yeah.
For something that happened to someone else. Not in the sense of, like, obviously, sometimes it does, it does matter. But, like, in cases like this, it's like, you don't gain anything, actually, Lothaire, by doing
exactly.
this. Like, I just...
And I think we
don't
also
know.
need to realize that Lothaire was only 9 years old when, like, he got to really experience his mom's hatred for humans. He was only 9 when his
And,
mom
like,
died.
at the end of the day, was it really the humans' fault, or was it the vampires' fault?
In my perspective, I think it was the vampires. Like, her own father let her get raped and murdered when he fully probably saw her and saw what was happening.
Which I understand Lothaire, wanting to avenge his mom and like carrying that grudge throughout centuries and years and stuff. So I get it.
Exactly. I totally understand where he was going with that, and how like that loss he felt when he realized his grandfather was dead and he didn't really get to take that blood debt out on him.
Which I have a question, I guess, adjacent to this. How did you feel about the fact that the kingdom of Dacian is just kind of handed over to him? Do you have any thoughts about that? Like, how did you feel about that in the book? How they just find him and they're like, here, you're the king now.
I think it brings it back to that point that you just said about holding grudges when it's not really your grudge to hold. I think his cousins, they are his cousins, they weren't holding the grudge of their father or their grandfather or whatever the heck he was to them.
Yeah.
And they realized that Lothaire and Elizabeth could rule the Dashi people successfully.
Yeah. And, like, in his mind, it didn't make sense because for centuries, if not more, he thought that they would hate him, that he would have to battle his way to the throne, when in fact, like, no, they were just, welcomed him with open arms and were like, you're the king now. And that was beyond his understanding of how things work.
Exactly.
And then he was an asshole to them and they still loved him, so.
Uncle Lothaire! This man was an uncle.
Are you excited at all for that spin-off series?
I actually am. Like, I went to go look at the books to see if any of them will get, and I saw that it was Prince, the MM one, right? That's the Prince.
Yeah.
Anyways, what do you think the monster could be for Ellie? I feel like that's a little bit more difficult. Because I don't think that she hated herself. I think she had a lot of integrity and she had a lot of respect for herself and what she stood for and her family. And I gotta say, like, it's hard to find anything about her that...
And you can't even fault her for, like, wanting to change Lothaire's mind and, like, obviously, like, I guess...
No, the man is crazy. You should want to change him.
Yeah. No, and I don't even fault her for that because she was just trying to do, like she said, she was doing whatever she could to survive. And
Yeah.
obviously she so happened to fall in love with him. And like she was lucky in that case because like obviously not everyone would fall in love with Lothaire because he's awful.
Yeah.
And like at one point she had that like thought of like what she thought she wanted as a future with like the nice boy that's like a farmer's son or whatever. But like she tested it out and she was like, that ain't doing it for me.
And I love how
So-
Lothaire was getting so jealous.
Yeah. I'm like, he's a boy. Lothaire. You got nothing to be scared about. You're fine.
No, I was talking about when Ellie was talking about her dream man and like her dream for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he was literally like throwing things in the room. He's like, "That's never happening." Like he is such a toxic. If this was like a dark romance or like if this was like any other book but a Crusty Cole book with Lothaire, I would literally be like, "This man is
fucking crazy.
toxic.
Yeah.
Get away."
I can literally picture him going around the world killing off everyone that fits that description. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he would be that type. He would be like, that's what you want? I'll make sure you can never possibly have it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that reveals a lot of insecurity, right? Like, he's like, you're not shit. You're so little. You're so poor. Blah, blah, blah. You're so insignificant in this world. But, like, turns out he's scared of being that to her.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh shit, this is what you want. I don't fit the bill. I want to fit the bill. I want to be the man that you want, but like you don't want me. So like clearly he's got some insecurity issues.
Yeah.
And I think that like I think it's because he's lived it in a sense where like he felt like he was nothing in this world because he kind of was for the better part of his existence. He kind of was nothing until he built a name for himself.
And he was such a sweet boy. Like, it's really like monsters are not born, they're made.
Exactly.
He was not born this way. The world made him that way.
Yeah.
Sad.
So, Ellie, I mean, I guess she's just the perfect human being. I would love
She's
to
not
be Ellie.
perfect. I just don't think
She's
has...
as perfect as you can get in this series, I feel like.
So can her monster be just loving Lothaire, falling in love with Lothaire?
Her worst decision, yes.
But he loves her a lot too, and he said it not once but twice, maybe even 3 times. I think he said it.
But you know what? Like, even then, like, even when she got sexual with him, she was like, you know what? I'm gonna die. I might as well. And I was like,
What?
yeah, girl, you might as well. Like, why die not experiencing this? Like, he's fucked up. He's crazy. He might break you in half, which, like, thanks. But,
And then she's like, so what would happen if I just, like, fall onto your dick?
I love her.
They were so funny.
my one note in my phone was, Lothaire can fuck me 10 ways to Sunday, break my neck, and twist my limbs like I'm a human sausage. I would say thank you.
Yeah, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. Despite us spending over an hour talking about how messed up he is.
Well, yes. I mean, yes. Like I said, fuck Lothaire, but also fuck Lothaire. You know?
Yeah.
So that should be the title of the episode.
I wish we could title it that.
I have a question, but if you had the chance to trace anywhere in the world, where would you girls go?
Ooh.
Well, a place I'm really itching to visit right now would be Turkey. I mean, for obvious reasons, but also because it's beautiful. So I would choose to trace to Turkey.
Are you planning to
way...
kidnap a certain actor and force him to marry you?
No.
She's like a baby.
But then anyways, so I get to go to Turkey, but then also I'd get to go to Greece as well since they're very close together. So that would be a nice vacation.
What about you, Marge?
I would probably love to trace to like a cabin in the snow somewhere in like the Alps.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
In like Switzerland or something, like, like a really like with beautiful mountains
Scenery,
with snow and like a little Christmas market, even though it's not Christmas anymore, but like let's say I'm tracing in the past.
Yeah.
Like just beautiful scenery, big mountains, and just that's like peace, but also like a quaint little town where there's no COVID, so like you can just walk around.
Oh, yeah.
You know, have fun. You know.
Yes, that's
that's
one
perfect.
thing. I'd like to trace when there's no COVID.
Yeah. So that's where I want to be, I think.
Yeah, so I picked the same, Switzerland. I would love to go.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
Switzerland. Go see
All right,
the
we're going
scenery.
together, us.
Let's go.
We're racing there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's just so peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice, peaceful trip as well.
Plus, like, I hear it's like a really rich country, so I'm thinking like there's probably really rich men living there. So I might like snag one while, you know, I'm visiting.
I think that's a sound plan.
I think so too.
And I support it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Thanks. You can come to the wedding.
Oh, yay. Okay, I'll come with my man that I kidnapped
From Turkey.
from Turkey.
All right, let's rank the men and women of the series. It is getting hard, people. It is getting
Yeah.
very hard. In fact, I am not satisfied with my ranking. I just put names in places, but I was like, I don't know.
Like, I wanted to put 3 of them in one number, in one slot, but then I was like, I can't
I
do
am not
that.
surprised. Yeah.
Um,
I just don't know. I feel like sometimes some of them I feel like I need 0.5, you know, like 1 and 1.5. Like I'm not feeling it. I'm not confident with this ranking anymore. So
All right, well, let's hear it then. Let's hear your ranking.
Oh, me first?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go women first. In 10th place, we have Naomi. 9, Emma. 8, we have Daniela and Caro. 7 is Lucia. 6 is Catherine. 5 is Mariquetta. 4 is Holly. 3 is Mist. 2 is Reagan and Ellie as a tie. And then 1 is Sabine. I mean, is that
Okay.
ever going to change? But, like, I hesitated.
Wait, how do you only have 10? Oh, 2 ties. Okay.
So, 11th place is Naomi. 10th, Daniela. 9th, Mist. 8th, Catherine. 7th, Sabine. 6th, Carol. 5, Emma. And 4th place, Reagan and Elizabeth. 3rd, Lucia. 2nd, Holly. And 1st, Mariquetta.
Sabine is so low on that list.
Not that low.
Like, am I ever gonna
She's
get
in the
over it?
middle.
I don't know. All right, Steph.
Okay. Mine, 11th is Naomi. 10th, Emma. 9, Danny. 8th, Lucia. 7th, Caro. 6th place goes to Holly. 5th, Mist. 4th, Catherine. 3rd, Sabine and Mariquetta. 2nd, Reagan. And 1st, Elizabeth. And, like, I think Sabine and Mariquetta are, like, 2 very opposing characters, but I like them for different reasons.
I mean, I feel like Sabine and Mariquetta kind of, it makes more sense as a tie, I feel like, than Ellie and Reagan. Don't you think?
I mean, I feel like you like them for different reasons.
Well, yeah, but I kind of try to think, like, why are they similar? Or why do I feel about the same, about you know, towards them? Anyways,
Yeah.
the men, and this is the list that I'm not satisfied with at all. I just don't know
I'm
what to do at this
nervous.
point.
Okay, let's hear it.
I mean, honestly, I'm looking at it and I don't even like it. So, you know, take this with a grain
It might
of salt.
change the next episode.
Yeah. So, in 10th place, we have Lachlan.
Shocker.
What a loser.
All right. Let me change my list real quick.
In 9th, we have Murdoch. 8 is Sebastian. 7 is a tie between Conrad and Malcolm. 6 is Bowen. 5th is Gareth. 4th is Cade. 3rd is Nikolai. 2nd is Wrightstrom as a tie with Lothaire. And 1st is Declan.
Okay.
But
fine with
those four, the 4 of them, I just don't know where I stand anymore. I want all of them. I want to be sandwiched between all of them, you know?
Girl,
Like,
I
gives
want
me
to
my
reverse harem
harem.
with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, you know I'm not someone that likes that trope, but I'm ready.
Yeah, me either, but, like, yes, please. So, S.
All right, S. Now let's see if our friendship survives or not.
Okay, so
Lothaire in 8th place.
I know.
I mean, he's not going to be high, though, I feel like.
I know. I need to... Hold on. Give me a second to prep myself. Okay, go.
I feel like he's not above a 5. That's my prediction.
Yeah, she doesn't like vampires.
So we'll
I know
see.
that.
Are we ready?
Go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
11th place, Murdoch. 10th, Conrad. 9th, Sebastian. 8th, Nikolai. 7th, Malcolm. 6th, Declan. 5, Rydstrom. 4th, Lacklane. 3, Kadon. 2, Bowen. Oh my god. And 1, Gareth.
Where's
I just
Lothaire?
wanted to see your face. He's in fifth place with Rydstrom.
I guess. I'll take it. I guess we're still friends, even though I said he has to be in your top 3. but-
How in the world is Lachlan at number,
No, stop.
what,
Leave him
4?
alone. He's like in 10th place for both of you guys.
I want to understand too. Do I need to reread this book for like the 10th time and figure out why?
No, hold on. I am waiting for that 10-page essay that she's supposed to
I'm still
write.
working on
Right?
it.
That was her homework.
Why he's
Yeah,
so great.
I'm still working on it. I'll come prepared with the essay.
It better be done by the time we're done these books.
I love how this has just turned into a trial for
I know.
Lachlan. Like he's just I feel like we're 12 episodes into this Immortals After Dark series and we're still not over it.
We're still not over book 1.
We're gonna drag him till the end, and S is just gonna be his sole,
He's not moving.
supporter until the end.
He's staying.
Yeah. All right, let me rank my guys.
Okay.
So 11th, Lachlan. 10th, Murdoch. 9th, Sebastian. 8th, Nikolai. 7th, Garrett. 6th place goes to Cade. 5th is Malcolm. 4th is Rydstrom. 3rd spot goes to Bowen. And 2nd is Conrad and Declan. And then 1st, surprise, surprise, Lothaire.
I feel like we expected this to be more climactic than that.
I feel like my list has more rights than yours, okay?
I feel like we're all like begrudgingly accepting this this ranking as opposed to being like, really surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
All right.
on that note, thanks for joining us for this discussion of Lothaire by Cressley Cole. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know what we're reading next week, as per usual, you can find out on social media. Usually we post the day after these episodes go up. So you can find us on Instagram at Romancing the Monsters Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at the RTM Pod, and you can email us if you want to at romancingthemonsterspodcast@gmail.com, and you can also find me on both Twitter and Instagram at Foes and Lovers.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ButThisBook.
And you can find me, Steph, on both Instagram and Twitter at Pros with Wolves.
And that's it. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.